to the world. Starting our show this morning from a great year, 1971, and it was on this day in 1971 that Three Dog Night took this song to number one, where it spent 6 weeks. Joy to the world. And since 1971, when this song started a 6-week run at number one, I do believe Jeremiah still is a bullfrog. A good Thursday morning to you. Feels like a Friday, long weekend coming up. And, you know, Paul Fixter warned me about this. Paul Fixter, the color commentator on our Kitchener Rangers broadcasts and a good friend, is a smart man. He warned me that this was going to happen, but I'm ready for it. So I'm going to take the call to start the show. The call from Chef D. Now, Chefy...
to the world, that team should remain nameless, is now in the playoffs. I never thought I'd be saying this.
Well done, sir. And because you followed the rules so carefully, congratulations. Objectively, I will not say their name. My hatred, my dislike runs that deep. But you're right. Nobody expected that nonsensical team to make the playoffs, and here you are.
Right?
Right.
And it's sunny out. Look at Farwell. It's sunny. It's beautiful. It's a great day because that team should remain nameless are in the playoffs.
Thank you. Do me a favor, Sheffy. Okay, please? Keep listening for the next 4 or 5 minutes, because I got something special just for you and all the people like you, okay?
Oh, no.
Love you, buddy.
Love you. Take care. Have a great day. And joy to the world.
Joy to the world, my friend. Joy to the world. I like Sheffy. I would have, though, you know the rules, right? I would have hung up on him in a heartbeat if he tried to get away with saying the name of the team that shall be named. Last night on our Kitchener Rangers post-game show, Ivan called up and he took full advantage, because when I'm at the rink, I have far less control over all the buttons, and he must have got that name out 4 or 5 times before I could get the relay back to the studio to hang up on Ivan. And thank you to Ernie, who has offered to police this show for just $5 an hour while I'm away. And thank you to Adam, who sent me an email yesterday while I was away. I wake up in the morning, I'm not even in the country, and I have an email from Adam that says, in the first 5 minutes of your show, Larry said the name of the team that shall not be named at least 5 times. So, Larry Fedoruk, I hope you enjoyed the last time you host the Mike Farwell Show. You don't bring that happy crappy onto this show. You don't do that. There are rules. Really, not many rules, but that rule remains hard and fast. And Sheffy followed it to a T. So I'll congratulate those that deserve to be congratulated for the accomplishment that nobody expected that team to accomplish. But we'll just leave it right there. What a difference 48 hours makes. 48 hours ago, I was in this chair talking to you and admittedly feeling a little bit glum because, of course, the Kitchener Rangers had lost the night before, and they were down 3-0 to the Windsor Spitfires. And what I didn't tell you 48 hours ago is that immediately after that show on Tuesday, I was heading out of the country. So my beloved got me for Christmas a pair of Leafs tickets to watch the Leafs take on the Buffalo Sabres. And I will be honest with you, when I got those tickets, I mean, obviously very excited. Let's go to a Leafs game. But it was game number 81 of the season. And I thought to myself, well, I mean, come on, game 81, it might be completely meaningless by that point. The final 2 games of the season, my favorite player in the world, Austin Matthews, might not even be in the lineup because the game could be meaningless to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Instead, what happened? What happened on Tuesday night in Buffalo? The Leafs had a chance to clinch their first division title in 25 years. Mitch Marner had a chance to reach 100 points for the season. And my favorite player, Austin Matthews, had a chance to score his 400th goal of his career. And it all happened in that game on Tuesday night in Buffalo, which means even though it's 2 mornings after, you know what you got to do the morning after Austin Matthews scores a goal, right? AM on AM in the AM, baby. This is for you, Sheffy.
Leafs get it ahead. Marner to Lawton. Lawton to Marner. Now Matthews still with it. Shoots and scores.
Oh, he did. Number 400 for Matthews. The Leafs clinched the division. Matthews has 400 career goals. And the Leafs will play the Sens in the playoffs. And I got to be in that building. And I was wearing my T-shirt from my friends Paul and Arlene that says, just one before I die, Toronto Maple Leafs. What a night. And then my beloved and I went out for wings and beer to a place, by the way, that stays open until 3 o'clock in the morning in downtown Buffalo on a Tuesday night. That's a civilized way to celebrate a hockey victory. And then last night, what do we get? A big win for the Kitchener Rangers. They still have a heartbeat in these playoffs. And I'll say again, what a difference 48 hours makes. It's a much less glum show host this morning compared to Tuesday. Fantastic stuff all around.
1, 2, 3.
All right, let's get to your Farwell Show 5 for this Thursday morning, the 17th of April. Number 1, the first of 2 leaders' debates ahead of the April 28th election took place last night in Montreal as Pierre Poilievre, Mark Carney, Jagmeet Singh, and Yves-François Blanchet sparred in French. Carney and Poilievre bickered over how best to handle Donald Trump.
We need to fight in a trade war. We need to fight with counter tariffs. And all the money collected from our counter tariffs will go directly to workers and the businesses that are the most affected by this trade war. They won't be used for tax cuts the way that Mr. Poilievre is going to do.
You always want to increase them. You're liberal. We want to cut taxes.
Started as Prime Minister.
For a 4th liberal term.
I've just started.
You were Justin Trudeau's economic advisor. Have you forgotten that?
Have you forgotten that? The English language leaders debate goes tonight. Number 2, our regional government will next week debate a new bylaw that could clear the encampment at Weber and Victoria Streets in Kitchener. Regional Council says the corner is needed as a staging area for construction of the new regional transit hub. The proposed bylaw would be site-specific, preventing people from erecting tents or other structures at that address. The region would also seek guidance from Ontario's Superior Court, where a 2023 ruling found removing people from regionally owned property violated their charter rights. Number 3 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, to the surprise of very few, efforts to curb this year's St. Patrick's Day party in Waterloo met with little success. Yesterday's meeting of the Waterloo Regional Police Services Board heard about crowds swelling to an estimated 20,000 people, despite the threat of legal action.
The hope was that the injunction and unified messaging from the City of Waterloo, Waterloo Regional Police, and other stakeholders would serve as a deterrent to the attendees. Individuals chose to ignore the injunction, and in social media posts, what we found was some took it as a challenge or an invitation to attend the unsanctioned event.
We certainly have agreements that the status quo is not acceptable from a risk, cost, and strain on resources perspective.
That's Regional Police Chief Mark Crowell and WRPS Superintendent Brenna Bond. The injunction was seen as a challenge. Crowell says all options remain on the table to ultimately end what was described at yesterday's board meeting as a, quote, mob-like gathering. Number 4, Conestoga College intends to consolidate a couple of its downtown campuses. In Brantford, an existing campus on Colborne Street will be absorbed by a location on nearby Wellington Street. And in Kitchener, Conestoga's campus on Frederick Street will move a few blocks away to a location on Yonge Street. The moves will be made as leases in existing buildings expire, saving the school money as it tries to deal with that cap on international students. The college says its housing development, though, at 22 Frederick Street in downtown Kitchener will continue. And number 5 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, Kitchener Council giving the green light to a new apartment building at Victoria and Lawrence. The proposal will see 2 existing houses on Lawrence Avenue near Victoria demolished in favor of a 3-story apartment building with 18 units. Kitchener councillor Bill Ioannidis says it's just the kind of project the city needs.
There's many other opportunities within our community and infill projects where we need to be more flexible with our zoning. This project is a good example that we need to be less stringent on our zoning and be a little bit more open to different types of zoning.
Formal approval for the proposal is still required at an upcoming council meeting. And that is your Farwell Show 5 for this Thursday morning. Let me get this straight now. I just want to make sure that I've got number 2 of the Farwell Show 5 straight. So the encampment at Weber and Victoria can be cleared if the region needs the property. But the businesses next door who have been complaining for months, years, well, it doesn't have to be cleared for them. Just when the region... So rules for me and not for thee or thee and me. We'll talk about it. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. First of all, is this just an incredible coincidence, or is it just me? Last week on this show, mere days ago, I was telling you a story about our goofy two-tier municipal government and how difficult that two-tier structure made it to get an underpass built for pedestrians and cyclists on Duke Street near Brydup. This underpass would be part of the new regional transit hub construction. And when I explained the goofiness of our two-tier structure to you, I decided to ask out loud right here on the show, what the hell is going on with our transit hub anyway? Like, it's getting on a decade. It was first tendered, then it was not because something went wrong with the original proposal, and then it's back to tender. And then I checked the information around the regional transit hub, and the last update was in June of 2024, so 9-ish months ago, at which time they said, we hope to have more information for you in the months ahead. And we're coming up on a year from that. Last week, right here, in this chair on this show, I brought all of that up out loud because I speak my mind out loud on this show. And lo and behold, what did we get yesterday? Well, we get an update on the regional transit hub. Dang it, gosh darn it. What a coincidence that is. Now we know what's going on. Do we know what's going on? Well, we know this. We know this, that by March of 2026, don't hold your breath because you'll expire before that. But by March of 2026, the property at 100 Victoria Street, Weber and Victoria in Kitchener must be cleared so that it can be used as a staging area, very important staging area for the construction of the regional transit hub. So we're within another 12 months or so of seeing some tangible progress on this, to date, mysterious phantom transit hub. I just find it so coincidental that days ago on this show, we're talking about it, and then all of a sudden, hey, region, here's your update. We're updating you on the thing that you asked for an update on. Never forget that when you participate in this show, your voice is heard by the people who hold the levers of power in this community, okay? 570 News Radio is your station of record in this community. Don't ever forget that. One other thing that struck me, though, with yesterday's announcement from the region and how they are going to work on a site-specific bylaw that would prevent the encampment from remaining there. And, of course, after November of this year, any new structures being erected. But here's the thing. For how long? Honest question for you. Honest to goodness from the heart question. For how long have other folks in that area impacted by the encampment been begging for change, been begging for support? Do you remember the early days? And I know security has been added and other things have been added. And I'm not trying to be unkind to the folks who are so desperate they have no other place to be than on that corner. I understand that. But the adjacent businesses have been begging for support in this. And yet, the encampment just remains. But now that the region needs the site, the encampment can be cleared through the creation of this new bylaw. Isn't that interesting? You ask for the change. Nothing we can do. We need the change, we're going to get it done. Interesting to me is all I'm saying. It's the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. As if the last 48 hours could not have been better when it comes to sports. I mean, sports will break your heart and it'll fill your heart. And I guess that's why I love it like I do. But following the incredible Leafs game I got to experience on Tuesday night, and then the incredible Rangers win last night, you might think that things could not possibly get any better than that. But au contraire, my good friend, that's about as much French as I know, along with the word chapeau, as I reflect on last night's French language leaders debate, which I didn't get to see because I was at the hockey game. But at the hockey game, here's the thing. I was raving, as you may recall, while away last week about Antonino's Pizza in Windsor. Hands down, the best pizza I've ever had in my life. And one of the Rangers players' parents had heard me talking about it and decided they were going to go and check it out for themselves. And while there, told the owner of Antonino's Pizza, the franchise that they visited, that Fixie and I had been bragging about the pizza on the air. And so what did the franchise owner do but send, by way of a gift to me and to Fixie, an Antonino's Pizza hockey jersey, which I will now wear proudly every time I eat one of those delicious pizzas. I'll tell you what, things are coming up roses in this studio, at least over the past 48 hours. By the way, Rangers Game 5 tomorrow night at the WFCU Center in Windsor. And Fixie and I will have all of your coverage beginning with pregame show at 6:30 tomorrow night. Right now, it's time for us to move on with our show this morning. An update from the 570 News Center, and then drivers in Kitchener have slowed down. What is the city planning to get us to slow down even more? You'll find out coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Well, the city of Kitchener is quite pleased with itself, or should I say quite pleased with us. But I think pleased with itself, too, because the city, has engineered us into driving slower. A 15% reduction in speeds on residential roads. Here to talk more about it is Ward 8 Councillor Margaret Johnston, who also happens to be the chair of the city's Community and Infrastructure Services Committee. Margaret, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. And it's great to chat with you. I was wondering how this conversation was going to go with the Rangers had won last night. And I'm absolutely thrilled that they did. Luke Ellenis and Jackson Parsons and the whole team came through. So this is a much happier conversation today, Mike.
You know, you're so right. I was going to say, you should send them the thank you card because I'm far less pissy today. Pardon my French. No, come on. This is a great news story, obviously. And I'm sure, Marg, as a city councillor, the number one, I hear this from everyone I talk to in municipal government, the number one complaint I'll bet you get is about people driving too darn fast.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And you know what? I am thrilled that our staff really, really takes this seriously. And we've been working on our Vision Zero initiative now since 2019. And it really has proven to be slowing down traffic in neighborhoods, which, as you said, the number one complaint that we get from people. So what we do is we meet yearly with our transportation staff. We bring to them concerns that we hear about in our neighborhoods. They take that information, they collate it with the results of the work that they've been doing in terms of data collection, and we come up with ideas about where we need to put in different types of road improvements. Maybe it's the flexi signs. Maybe it's looking at different kinds of infrastructure things, et cetera. But that is one of my favorite meetings of the year because they help us make data-based decisions. And I'm pretty excited, too, that staff are working with the University of Waterloo on a study. It's called LIDAR. And don't ask me what LIDAR means, actually. But what it means is that they're using these cameras to look at areas where there's been near misses in terms of accidents. And then what they do is they then use that information to make some changes to address the root cause of those near misses and collisions, and better understand why these are happening, being able to reduce those based on countermeasures. And we're still in the data gathering phase on that piece, but that's pretty exciting.
Vision Zero, as you mentioned, Marg, being worked on since 2019 at the City of Kitchener. This is a plan that aims to eliminate entirely, hence the Vision Zero, collisions that result in serious injury or death. So you're making progress on that. And I know there is work coming up as part of this Vision Zero strategy that will convert 16 roads into what the city calls complete streets. What's a complete street?
Yeah, so complete streets are ones that we have done the studies on, right? So a complete street will really help with the flow of traffic, but also have different types of maybe infrastructure pieces in place. It could mean that again, there's those flexi signs. There could be speed enforcement there. There could be speed bumps on a road, et cetera. And that there's spots on the road for everybody. So there's separated cycling infrastructure, et cetera, so that it has a safe space on the road for everyone.
Are you comfortable with a municipal speed limit in residential areas of 40 kilometers per hour? Because I know some jurisdictions, including neighboring Waterloo, in at least some places, has gone as low as 30. How do you feel about 40 as a landing spot?
Yeah, I think that 40 is reasonable because it's easy to drive at 40. It's a comfortable speed to drive at. My ward actually, and my neighborhood, I live just a couple of blocks from Waterloo and that area where it is 30. It is easier to drive at 40. And we do know that the slower that people drive, the better it is for any collisions that happen with pedestrians, cyclists, et cetera. But I do think that 40 is a good spot to have landed on. In front of many of our school zones, though, there are areas that are 30 as well for that extra area of protection where we know that there's more vulnerable road users.
Marg, I really appreciate your time on the show this morning, and your support for our Kitchener Rangers goes almost unparalleled. I know Dave Schneider might give you a run on council, but
he does.
But thank you for joining us this morning. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, take care.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye. Margaret Johnston is the Ward 8 councillor in the City of Kitchener. She also chairs the city's Community and Infrastructure Services Committee, a 15% reduction in speeds on residential roads in the City of Kitchener since they began their work on the Vision Zero strategy dating back to 2019. So it's a 15% reduction is fairly significant, and the work coming up now will be more work on what's referred to as complete streets in the city. So these are roads that get redesigned, re-engineered to accommodate more people, be they people who walk, people who ride bicycles, etc., where the road can be shared in a safer manner. And yes, in some cases, that means posted speed limits that are reduced to 40 in more areas than they had been in the past. I wonder when it comes to, because again, the 15% reduction in speeds on residential streets is fairly significant. What is it that works best for you when it comes to reducing your speed in a given area? How about those little flexi signs? I'm not sure what they're exactly called, but you might see in the middle of the road. They're on Krug Street, they're on River Road, they're on many places now where it almost makes it feel as though the road is narrower, right? In that area, you slow down to get between those little things, whatever. I don't want to call them full-on bollards because they're not, but I think you know the things to which I refer. We've got the posted speed limit. We've got photo radar in some areas. We've got those signs that tell you how fast you're moving. We've got signs on the side of the road, I think mostly posted by residents in the neighborhood saying, please slow down. What is it that works best for you when it comes to slowing you down as a driver? Let me know. 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. Let me know your thoughts about what is it, what tactic that is used, because many are, that helps you slow down behind the wheel. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Complete streets will really help with the flow of traffic, but also have different types of maybe infrastructure pieces in place. It could mean that there's those flexi signs, there could be speed enforcement there could be speed bumps on a road, etc., and that there's spots on the road for everybody. So there's separated cycling infrastructure so that it has a safe space on the road for everyone.
Complete Streets, Ward 8's Margaret Johnston, councillor in Kitchener and chair of the city's infrastructure committee. We are going to see 16 roads in the city of Kitchener converted into those complete streets through a variety of construction projects this year and a partnership with the University of Waterloo to use LiDAR technology, which detects near misses, identifying places where intersection improvements might be necessary. I love that the city of Kitchener embarks on this mission of its Vision Zero strategy and safer streets using data. Big fan of data-driven decision-making. And I wonder, in all of this, and you heard Councillor Johnston there explaining some of what a complete street means through the addition of cycling lanes, the infrastructure that's built in, etc. What works for you when it comes to a street that you're driving on? What is it that helps you slow down? The way the street's designed, that flashing light that tells you how fast you're going, the posted speed limit? I want to hear from you. 519-570-2545, star 570, or 1-800-570-5715. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Michael. I'd like to comment on this stuff here, too, a bit. My mom's house is in Old Westmount Waterloo, right? And they have narrowed streets. They have put four-way stops in and all this stuff, right? And they put in bike lanes and all this other wonderful stuff. But the best deterrent that I've seen, because people run four-way stops, they don't obey the ridiculous 30-kilometer-an-hour speed limit. The best way, I find, is up on John Street. They put two big, nice speed bumps there. And boy, does that ever slow down the traffic. Because people will get their noggins rattled if they take those darn things too fast. So this complete street thing is, to me, is nothing but a bike lane agenda thing. It has nothing to do with safety. I think the reduction of speed limits is fine. But if the people are, I can tell you when I'm home in Waterloo at my mom's place, I can tell you these people aren't obeying these speed limits or the four-way stops. They just roll right through them. That's my thoughts, Mike.
All right, Mike, appreciate that. Speed bumps would be the answer for Mike, and totally get that. The baked-in infrastructure, like a speed bump, obviously has that impact. Of course, we also have to remember, and we hear this from emergency services, it can not only slow them down in some cases, if depending on the construction of that speed bump, might prevent them even with some of their bigger vehicles to use from using the street. So it's a bit of a balancing act there. But I hear you, Mike. Joe, over to you. What is it that gets you to slow down?
Hi, good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Joe.
I agree with the other Mike, the speed limits and the signs, the ones that blink and say it's a 40 zone, you're doing 47. And I find the speed bumps are handy in my neighborhood, but people then drive around them and drive on the sidewalk with one set of tires so they're not inconvenienced. And it's like, my God, it's only 30, 40 kilometers an hour. Take the speed bump, right?
They are that desperate to avoid a speed bump that they'll put 2 tires on a sidewalk.
Yeah, and in my neighborhood, the sidewalk is right next to the road. There's no actual boulevard of grass. So, yeah, they drive on the sidewalk and the other tire goes down in between the 2 speed bumps. And I'm like, oh, my God, people, it's a sidewalk. Children are on it, eh? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Joe.
Oh, no, and then I live in Cambridge, not Kitchener, so Guelph Avenue. There's 2 schools around here, and it's a 30 zone now. Everybody only obeys the 30 where the photo radar camera is, and then off they go to 60 again. I like mobile cameras, but everybody knows where the stationary one is. They only, slow down around that.
Joe, I appreciate the call this morning. You know what this makes me think of? And so and I find them pretty effective too. Those signs that tell you that you're doing 47 when the limit's 40, for example. There's one that I drive past regularly, and it really does have an impact. I like to know because I take, I think, relatively a high degree of care when it comes to monitoring my speed and making sure I'm at the posted limit. And we know these days, posted limit could be 30, could be 50, could be 40, could be 60. If you're on Lobsinger Line, try 80, 60, 40. Get them all. So I try to be hyper aware, and I like to see when those signs exist, those electronic signs that tell me you're going this fast and this is the speed limit. A little test for myself to make sure I am paying enough attention. They seem to work. But I'm getting the sense from the calls from both Mike and Joe that our counselors are not whistling Dixie when they say that the number one complaint they get is about speeding in residential neighborhoods, because it sounds like we are registering those same concerns on the Mike Farwell Show this morning. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Just ahead of our update in the 570 News Center, want to give a quick shout out to Avery. Avery, you know who you are. You're the guy that went to the Kitchener Rangers game last night with a paper bag over your head. Now, usually, such a stunt is reserved for a fan that is that frustrated with the hockey club. In fact, that has happened in Kitchener before. It takes you back to the 1990s, and we'll just leave that there. But all fans anyway, weren't exactly thrilled with the team. That was a long time ago. Last night, what Avery did was wore a referee's jersey to the game with a paper bag over his head. He was one of 3, and they didn't know each other, but he was one of 3 fans in behind the Rangers goal that did that, wore referee's jerseys to the game. 2 of the fans, more like linesperson's jerseys, didn't have the orange armbands. And then one section over and a couple of rows ahead was Avery under his paper bag wearing the referee's jersey, had the orange armbands on. This, of course, in response to the, let's just call it subpar officiating in game number 3. Rangers head coach Jussi Ahokas described it as brutal and something he hadn't seen in his 25 years of coaching. But nonetheless, I applaud fans. Look, it's a hockey game, okay? Have some fun. And that, to me anyway, I'm not the referee, and I guess they could experience it differently, if you'll forgive the turn of phrase, but I think it's pretty harmless fun. And I know it was Avery under that paper bag because he phoned Rangers Talk last night, the post-game show that Fixie and I host after every Rangers home game. We stay late, we take your calls, and I've always joked with Fixie that everybody loves a loser. When the team loses, that's when our phone lines are sizzling hot on Rangers Talk because people want to call in and complain about the team. Well, we got the opposite last night, so I guess I'm just a big moron. Everybody loves a winner. And we were so busy so busy on the post-game show last night that we stayed late, past 11 o'clock when we usually shut it down. And we were on the air for so long. Fixie had a friend at the game who came in from Mildmay to watch it, and she made it home to Mildmay from Kitchener before we signed off the post-game show last night. That's how busy we were. That's how much fun we were having, and maybe the most fun, our call from Avery, the guy who was at the game in a referee's jersey with a paper bag over his head. Big win for our Rangers last night. We'll play Game 5 in Windsor tomorrow. Following this update from the 570 News Center, our city's doing the right thing by banning the sale of fireworks. That's what Kitchener is doing. And the mayor says this is government overreach. He voted against it, but he didn't win the vote. Let's talk about it on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio. The city of Kitchener will explore an opportunity to ban the sale of fireworks beginning in 2026, allowing existing fireworks retailers to get rid of their existing inventory, and then an education campaign so folks understand what is to come. A ban on the sale of fireworks. Interestingly, the mayor of the city, Barry Verbanovic, calls this government overreach, but he's just one vote on council, and at least to date has not exercised any sort of strong mayor power to overrule the decision made by council. So a ban on the sale of fireworks, you say. Aleem Kanji is the Chief Advocacy Officer with the Canadian National Fireworks Association and joins the program. Aleem, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Go Rangers. Great to be on your show.
Go Rangers. Thank you for that. It's great to have you here. What do you think of the city's decision to ban the sale of fireworks?
Well, look, let's keep one thing in mind, Mike, for all your listeners, your legions of fans. This is a proposal. This has not gone through yet. And as you said quite rightly, the mayor is against this. He calls it a government overreach. People from the city of Kitchener can hop off to any municipality around them to purchase fireworks. They can go online and buy them. They can go to Guelph or London, cities that interestingly rejected banning fireworks not too long ago. You've asked some really good questions, and Mike, I know you're a big fan of data-driven decision-making. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about why the data doesn't support this proposal.
How does it not support? Because I wanted to ask about that, Aleem, because the one of the data points anyway that the city is using in this is the hundreds, 300 plus complaints that they receive about the use or misuse of fireworks. So what other data is missing?
Great question. So look, yes, there were 314 complaints in Kitchener. Did you know that in Kitchener, and this was at the council meeting earlier this week, they receive 3,500 noise complaints per year. Only 8% of them are related to fireworks. So we've got 90% plus that come from loud music, from construction, from traffic, from commercial activity, from animal noise. I think your listeners would all agree. If we were to suggest banning all of those noise sources, it would be considered completely unreasonable. Why are fireworks being singled out here? Here's another data point for you. The staff report talks about this survey and these grandiose numbers that say people are against fireworks. The survey only interviewed and asked 1,800 Kitchener residents. Of the 300,000 in the city, that's 0.006% of the city. We've got 30-plus fireworks vendors in Kitchener. They pay their taxes. They house fireworks in a controlled area that's regulated by our federal and provincial governments. Do we want people to stockpile fireworks in their residence and keep them away from stores if we boot out the industry? And are we doing that at the right time when we are, we've heard governments across this country saying, hey, look, buy local. We're worried about auto plants closing in other communities and affecting jobs, but we're doing it right here by throwing people out of town when we know our residents, the vast majority that celebrate responsibly, are going to continue to do that. This is impossible to enforce. The city's own report says that there is no enforcement plan and that fireworks are very hard to enforce. What do we do here? We've got some solutions. We think cooperation between industry and government is the right thing to do.
How would you propose, Aleem, a city like Kitchener deal with, and your point on the survey numbers and the overall number of complaints versus other noise complaints, et cetera, very well taken. But the fact is, complaints have increased around fireworks specifically. How would you propose a municipality like Kitchener deal with that increase in complaints?
Let's be real here, Mike. 170 people complained in 2022. 186 people complained in 2023. And just over 300 complained in 2024. I'm going to repeat that. It's less than 8% of total complaints in Kitchener around noise. You ask a good question, and how do we deal with this? The city does have tools. They can work with industry. We can educate at the point of sale, or they can create an underground black market where people can stockpile fireworks at homes, try to make them themselves, buy in other cities or buy online. You don't punish the people that are behaving well around this, and that's the vast majority of people. They need to educate more at the point of sale and work with industry. Perhaps they need designated areas. Perhaps they need more targeted enforcement. Perhaps they need to beef up the fine. The fine is arbitrarily low right now. The city of Kitchener has levers, and there is an opportunity for residents in the city to speak on the 5th of May at 7 p.m. Call the city, 519-904-1410, and come out and speak and have your voice heard. Because guess what? If it's fireworks today, every resident in this city should be concerned, what else is the city going to take away in the future? How do they have the opportunity to take away things that are legal? Over 4,000 fireworks are regulated, permissible by our federal and provincial governments. 98% of Ontario municipalities allow for the sale and use. Kitchener's on the wrong side of this, and I'm afraid that residents should be concerned. What else are you going to take away in the future? That's what we got to be concerned about here.
Aleem, I appreciate your time on the show this morning. Thank you very much for being here.
Great to be with you. Anytime.
Aleem Kanji is the Chief Advocacy Officer with the Canadian National Fireworks Association. Kitchener is on the wrong side of this. The mayor himself calls it government overreach to ban the sale of fireworks. What do you think? Is it government overreach? Is Kitchener on the wrong side of this? Would love to hear from you. 519-570-2545, star 570, 1-800-570-5715. Your calls coming up on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
We know our residents, the vast majority that celebrate responsibly, are going to continue to do that. This is impossible to enforce. The city's own report says that there is no enforcement plan and that fireworks are very hard to enforce. What do we do here? We've got some solutions. We think cooperation between industry and government is the right thing to do.
So is the city of Kitchener's decision to move forward with a potential ban on the sale of fireworks the wrong thing to do? Aleem Kanji, Chief Advocacy Officer with the Canadian National Fireworks Association, joins us to talk about his proposed solutions. I want to know what you think. Kitchener Mayor Barry Verbanovic calls the decision at a committee meeting this week government overreach, the decision to explore the possibility of a ban on the sale of fireworks in Kitchener. And let's remember, you can just cross Mary Street or keep going down King, get past Union, you're into Waterloo, you can buy fireworks there. I don't know about banning them in Kitchener. The sale of them is going to do anybody any good. And even if we got regional cooperation on this and all of the cities and townships banned their sale, anyone ever heard of Amazon Prime? I don't endorse it by any stretch, but I've seen the boxes show up on the doorstep. Apparently, you can get whatever you want within 24 hours, and presumably that would mean fireworks as well. Anyway, I want to hear from you on this, so let's go to the phones. Robert, what do you think? Is the government in Kitchener overreaching with the proposed ban on the sale of fireworks?
Personally, I've got no problem with it. I don't really, as usually say, is you've got no horse in this race. But it did make me think of a few things. And one of them, the first one I thought is, isn't it funny if we phrased it differently? If I said I want to take some gunpowder, roll it up in a cardboard tube and blow it up in my backyard, I think people would be kind of annoyed with that or think that was a bad idea. Now, modern fireworks don't use high-end gunpowders, but they use black powders. That's still a propellant. Before 2024, I used to be able to go and buy black powder without any kind of license at all. And recently they made it so that you do need a firearms permit to even buy black powder, which is the stuff used in fireworks. So I think as they get more into regulating things like that, it's going to eventually come down from provincial or federal level, that's going to be regulated too, because right now I could say have an old muzzle loading rifle, and I don't have a way to buy black powder. I could go buy fireworks and load it up with that, and that would work perfectly fine. And now that that's been like banned to sell to anyone with the black powder route, I think it's kind of funny that people don't think of that as gunpowder when it definitely is. I mean, I can't go in the backyard and start shooting my gun off in the air to celebrate 4th of July or whatever.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing is, Robert, what you're getting, there are regulations around that. You see, you have to be a licensed firearm owner. You obviously cannot go into the backyard and start firing it off. What we're talking about here, let's not get too out of control. We're talking about a limited amount of this black powder within a firework that is the sale of which is regulated to people over a certain age and the usage of which is regulated. So you might be stretching a bit with that argument. Maybe that's just me, though. Eric, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. A few things. One, yes, I think it's government overreach. The second one, it's a question to you. I don't want to give too much away. When we were young and running around, late teens, let's say, we'd obey the rules as May 2-4, Canada Day were the only days. Were we annoying with fireworks?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, we were? I'm sorry.
We weren't? Come on. Of course we were.
But I just want to make sure that, you know, we were told when to light them off. There's rules. Back in the day, yes, if we had the space, we could do them. But the thing is, if you don't have the space and you don't know how, you shouldn't do it. So this goes back to the education before just outright banning it.
Yeah, Eric, I hear you. And I appreciate that. And you know what? Bigger picture, like I get where you're coming from. And maybe we were less annoying because I remember in our neighborhood, we gathered together, the parents would all contribute, and we had a big neighborhood celebration over in the nearby park, which was allowed. Definitely not annoying. But tell me you didn't find the occasional cherry bomb or a firecracker you could put into an apple and watch it explode on some random Saturday or Wednesday night, right? Like and that would be annoying to people. But I've said this so many times in the context of this conversation. More people, more problems. More people, less tolerance. Our nerves appear to be more frayed than ever these days. And I find that frustrating. Like, yes, it's a bit of a nuisance. We all can still get up the next day and survive. And I'm not trying to endorse the annoying use or the nuisance uses, but I really do think we need to relax just a wee bit. It's a firecracker. Come on with your comment on. James, good morning.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. I think the gentleman that you were speaking to, some of his excuses I didn't think washed. You know, he's talking about bylaw and what people are complaining about. You know, somebody having a loud stereo next door and calling bylaw to turn it down it isn't a dangerous thing. Like somebody next door to you lighting off these massive fireworks. Like when you go into these trailers, they are huge now. It's not like when we were kids and we had, you know, the burning schoolhouse and a couple of volcanoes. These are really powerful things. And I invite Mayor Granovic to come into the Dune area on Canada Day or Diwali and see the mess afterwards that's in our parks, that hits our roofs, that hits our cars. And you know what? It is the irresponsible people that are unfortunately spoiling it for everybody. But what happened to the day where the community gathered together and there was a city run beautiful big fireworks display, and then that was it? And that seemed to make everybody happy. What's your thoughts?
You know what, James? I think I'm with you on that. I really am. I do miss the days of the community-wide celebrations with fireworks. Hello, Columbia Lake. That was the most recent to go the way of the dodo. I remember being downtown, and it went sideways on Kitchener, but they had the right idea. I think it was Canada Day. They set them off on the roof of City Hall, except the stand that was keeping the fireworks upright kind of tilted, and they ended up shooting out over the crowd. Not the way to design it, but it was a little mistake. You can fix that stuff. I think James raises a very fair point around the misuse and the impact on neighborhoods. Look, houses are not as spread out as they once were. Yards are not as spacious as they once were. So if we're doing it in our own backyard, and that backyard is the equivalent of the proverbial postage stamp, it's going to have a significant impact on our neighbors. I wish we could legislate more neighborly courtesy. I really do. Clean up after your damn self. Like, come on. And yeah, setting them off in your itty-bitty, teeny-weeny backyard when you're impacting your neighbor's yards at the same time, probably not cool. I find it really frustrating because, just to be honest with you, I enjoy fireworks. I don't care as much for drone shows. I like the snap, crackle, pop, and this all, quite frankly, disappoints me. Government overreach, that's a whole separate issue that I've got some concerns with in many areas right now. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Mary Jane has a question via email to Mike at 570news.com. Back in the day, Mary Jane writes, when I was a kid, I recall going to a fireworks display at Riverside Park in Preston, and it was not loud. When did that change? Perhaps fireworks manufacturers could improve their product. Fair. Or maybe, Mary Jane, if you're like me, you might have heard once or twice, if it's too loud, you're too old. So maybe when you were a kid, it didn't seem loud, but now today, it seems louder. And Stefan sends an email to Mike at 570news.com and reminds us that the village of Clyde has an outstanding fireworks display, a true community event. Maybe we can get more of them. It wouldn't be the worst idea I've ever heard, that's for sure. Speaking of ideas and whether or not they're the worst I've ever heard, Gary Chalk, who joins us Thursday mornings at 10:30 to bring his humor column to life on the show, said to me yesterday, Mike, make sure you have some bubble wrap ready for our segment tomorrow morning. Now, I don't know if this means I have to be wrapped in said bubble wrap to keep me safe from what's to come, but I'm trying to put the pieces together between living retired and bubble wrap. Apparently, there is some kind of mysterious bubble wrap controversy simmering in the head offices of living retired. We're going to try to get to the bottom of it coming up. Stay with us on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Hookah chaka, hookah, hookah, hookah chaka, hookah, hookah, hookah chaka, hookah, hookah, hookah chaka, hookah, hookah. I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me. When you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's all right. I'm hooked on a feeling.
Thursday mornings, 10:30. Gary Chalk brings us the feeling of humor. He writes the humor column called Living Retired, and every Thursday morning at this time, he joins the show to bring it to life. I'm surrounded by bubble wrap right now, though, Gary Chalk, and I don't know. You make me so nervous.
Well, you never know, but how's your mic, Mike? Good morning.
My mic is in perfect form this morning.
Oh, that's good.
Just like the Kitchener Rangers and the Toronto Maple Leafs, I might just add.
Boy, you're right on that one. And believe me, it's April 17th, 2025. We are going to make broadcasting history this morning, and there's been so much change, so many issues in the world, and now there's been a change in bubble wrap.
Listen, ever since I saw Arthur Carlson drop turkeys out of a helicopter in 1979, WKRP in Cincinnati, I've wanted to be part of something big in radio. And now we're going to uncover this mystery today on Living Retired.
We are.
Okay.
But just, I don't want to burst anybody's bubble, but we need to make sure that after the commercial break, everybody has maybe even their own bubble wrap with them, and we'll move forward with it at that time. Does that sound like a plan?
I love it. It's a perfect plan. Get your bubble wrap ready, and we'll put this to the test today.
Sounds good. Meantime, it's spring. Everybody's out driving around, and, the leaves are maybe starting to burst and things of that nature. I live in St. George, which is on the other side of Cambridge towards Brantford, out in the village of St. George. And sort of around the corner, down the road, there's a farm, and the sign, it's a hand-painted sign, which has been hammered at the fence. And I spotted it the other day, and it's been there for a couple of years. But, Mike, I don't make this stuff up, right?
Of course I do. Yes, you're straight as an arrow you are, Gary Chalk.
Right. The sign says, this is legit, the sign says, for sale, organic horse manure, 3 bags for $5.
It's actually not a bad price. The organic stuff usually costs more.
Yeah, but Mike, we've got organic dairy, organic fruits and vegetables. What's with organic horse manure?
Well, I'm just going to assume here, and we know what that means, but I'm going to anyway, that the horse consumed only organic foods. Hence, the output is equally organic.
Okay, so that means you're going to spread it on your lawn or on your gardens and have organic tulips or something? Like, I don't get it.
Well, I sure as hell ain't going to do anything else with it.
Hey, here's a sign I saw a couple of years ago on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, south of Erie. Of course, there's lots of billboards. This one said, it said, pepper spray, stun guns, and a topic you've been talking about today, fireworks.
My gosh, Gary, I've seen the same sign. We used to joke about it when we took the trip into Erie with the Rangers. You get off the highway, and there's the big store, fireworks and firearms. Come on.
Now, that's a business that caters. It's one-stop shopping for the entire family.
God bless America.
You betcha. Mom gets some pepper spray, Dad gets a stun gun, and kids, treat yourself to fireworks. All in one store.
Land of the free, my friend, land of the free.
You bet. There's another sign. This one I've seen for years. Never understand. You're out driving in the country, Mike, and they're all over, and there are signs that say, do not mow this grass. You ever seen those?
I have not seen that, but I think my neighbor adheres to that. There must be a sign I can't see at their place.
Well, this is out in the countryside. Tell me, Mike, what person is driving along? You're driving 80 kilometers an hour. You see a sign. If they didn't have the sign, is that guy going to pull over and pop out his lawn boy from the trunk and cut the grass?
You know what? I could get behind an idea like that. I'm like a lawn perfectionist. So if I had I should just drive around with my lawnmower and hop out and cut grass. Be so good.
Oh, I can see it now. But here's the classic one, Mike. This one always gets me. You pull the car into a strip. I see it at strip plazas all the time. Okay, you pull up right to the store. Okay, and they've all got special signs there for who can park, and there are the appropriate ones. There's this spot reserved for disabled. This spot reserved for families with children, or this spot for parking is allowed for expectant mothers. That I understand. We can all agree on. The other one that's there, and this one always makes me laugh, it's a sign that says Employee of the Month. Okay? Now, that's good, all well and good, to have a special parking space to reward your staff for someone who really went above and beyond and was nominated by the manager of that store to be the Employee of the Month. Here's the thing, Mike. That spot is always empty.
So wait a minute. Maybe there's no employee of the month that month, or maybe they just get the month off.
I don't know. I'm just telling you, nobody's there.
You know what, Gary? This just reminds me of my parking spot here at the radio station.
Yeah.
And I have been told to park one section over from the main parking area.
Right.
It's a further walk for me.
Yep.
Do you think they're trying to tell me something? There are no employees preferred parking employee of the month for me here.
Well, I'm telling you, I would expect that if you had the employee of the month, surely 570 would have an employee of the month and have a car there.
I'm sure they would, Gary. I'm sure they would. All right, hang on, because the Living Retired Great Bubble Wrap Pop-Off is still to come. Something sinister has happened to the bubble wrap we've long loved. We're going to put it to the test and make a little radio history with Gary Chalk on Living Retired this morning. It's the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Well, of all the signs that Gary Chalk has noticed in and around their parts in St. George, the ones that say maximum 40 ends about 10 meters before a stop sign, we didn't even get into, but we're keeping it fun today on Living Retired, as we do every Thursday morning at this time. By the way, don't forget to check out livingretired.press. While you're there, sign up for the newsletter. That column will be delivered directly to your inbox each and every week. And then you can have a chuckle along with all of those dumb memos from the boss. What? No, they are. I promise you that. Okay, Gary, it's time for the great Living Retired bubble wrap pop-off. You have had me nervous about this since you first mentioned it. What on earth is going on with bubble wrap that's got you so concerned?
Okay, what happened? Well, 3 weeks ago, I discovered something that's called, and this is a thing, it's called silent bubble wrap.
What are you talking about, silent bubble wrap? The whole point of bubble wrap is to pop the bubbles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What happened was Jan purchased, I hate to say this, some decorated candles. Anyways, that's another topic. Anyways, she left the bubble wrap on the kitchen counter.
Okay.
Now, any mature man, Mike, you, I, thousands listening, mature men, the first thing we do is start pinching the bubble wrap. There's nothing. It was like a little poof. It was wimpy.
Come on. Wimpy bubble wrap?
Yeah. Now imagine this. If this thing really takes off, I don't even want to have Christmas anymore. Christmas morning is the time that I sit with my slippers, my house coat. Jan opens her latest air fryer or whatever it is, and while she's looking at that thing, I'm popping over in the corner of the bubble wrap to the point she says, Gary, knock it off. Right? That's what bubble wrap is supposed to be.
It is. Bubble wrap must pop. That's the only way it can possibly exist.
That's right. I mean, I actually saved some sheets of what is now original bubble wrap for Jan. I encourage Jan when she's watching CNN and Wolf Blitzer and he's going on with all that dire breaking news, I tell her to just sort of pop some bubble wrap. It's a stress reliever.
It is. I agree. You know what's funny is, and it must have worked for us as kids, for whatever reason, and I don't remember where it came from, but when we were kids, we went to the dentist as a family, which I kind of liked because there were 5 of us kids, right?
Yeah.
So in order for all of us to see the dentist, it was a half day off school, Gary. So I was fine with that. You just wait for your sibling to have their turn and whatever. But there was bubble wrap around the dentist's office. Why or from what, I'm not sure, but that would entertain us. And maybe, I didn't know it at the time, was relieving our stress before we got in the dentist's chair.
Hey, you're a smart man. And you know what? Your comment, and this is real, is that the 2 guys who invented bubble wrap, and the initial plan was they were going to use it as, get this, wallpaper. Bubble wrap wallpaper. And I'm thinking that loud pop, 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 that would drown out all the swearing between you and your spouse when you're wallpapering the bathroom. Right?
Not bad, not bad. Or, keep it softer for when you run into the walls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if I have my way, Mike, good old-fashioned, ear-irritating bubble wrap isn't going to go out with a bang. Believe me.
I hope so.
I hope so.
Okay.
So it's time for the Mike Farwell Show history for the living retired bubble wrap-off.
Okay.
Bubble wrap pop-off. Got to get it straight here.
The bubble wrap pop-off. What am I to do with the bubble wrap I have with me?
Okay, well, what I have is a piece of bubble wrap as well. This is what came with Jan's decorator candles. Anyways, what we're going to do is I'm going to hold mine up to the phone and demonstrate to you that it barely has a puff. It's a wimpy sound, and I'm just going to hold up the phone. And if you're fortunate, Devin on the other side of the glass, he's going to be able to catch this sound, so your thousands of listeners will hear it. Here it goes.
Okay. No, Gary.
There's one. Did you get it?
No, there's no sound there. I just hear crinkling.
Okay, I'll go in.
No, it's like you're unwrapping a Christmas present.
Okay, hold on a second here. I got to find another one.
Find a bubble to pop.
Okay, here comes silent bubble wrap number 1. Here goes.
Yeah.
Did you catch it?
That was silent bubble wrap, all right.
Okay, now what do you got?
Okay.
What's yours?
Let me see. I got to do the best I can here.
Okay.
Oh,
there it is.
There, yeah, see? We got something going on over here.
Whoa, don't let Kitchener City Council get a load of this. This is making a loud sound.
Oh, that's... We're going to ban bubble wrap just like fireworks.
That's right. What's next? You know, next what council's going to do, they're going to insist that we have silent whoopee cushions.
There wouldn't be much whoopee in that.
No, but that's what mature men need in their life. Imagine, you could even have silent double bubble chewing gum.
I'm trying to get this. I found there's some more. There's some more.
Okay, I'll try a few more.
I got some good bubble wrap. Okay. It came in some package I found. I think it's actually supposed to be cushioning, not, well, it's bubbles, though.
Okay. I'm trying here.
Gary, you have to get Jan to shop at different places.
Oh, don't. Hey, she needs no more encouragement to get out shopping.
Now you've got me, though. I'm going to sit here and pop bubbles all day.
I'll tell you, she's out shopping right now. I know she's listening on the radio. She's going to be gone for the rest of the day.
Jan, bring home good bubble wrap for Gary. He needs to be entertained. Come on.
I'm telling you, Mike, the pop is... Next, there's going to be silent popcorn.
I can't get any more pops off this thing.
I can't either.
I've got performance anxiety today now. Gary, leave it to you to uncover the silent bubble wrap.
Oh, I'm telling you. You know what? Heather LeBlanc just heard all this, and she wants to get the column. So, she's obviously a fan of the original bubble wrap.
Gary, keep popping, my friend. Gary Chalk joins us every Thursday morning at 10:30 with Living Retired. It's the humor column he writes, and you can find for yourself online at livingretired.press. And while you're there, be just like Heather and sign up for the weekly newsletter. It'll be delivered right to your inbox. I'm going to keep trying to pop these things for the rest of the day as I go through the show. I don't have any silent bubble wrap here. There's a little pop again. The things that pop, pun intended, into Gary Chalk's mind. He joins us with Living Retired every Thursday morning at 10:30 here on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Do not forget to visit livingretired.press and sign up for the weekly newsletter so Gary Chalk's column can be delivered right to your inbox. Livingretired.press. And I love when Gary joins the show every Thursday morning, 10:30. He's paying attention to what's going on. And if we have the bubble wrap that's too noisy, he said we best be careful because the city of Kitchener might ban it, like it's trying to ban the sale of fireworks. Probably not just because of the noise, some other things. But I like how tuned in Gary is with what we're doing. And I mentioned earlier when we were talking about that, Kitchener Mayor Barry Verbanovic describing the potential ban on the sale of fireworks as government overreach. And I've been thinking about that in a number of contexts. And we'll talk more about it certainly during the Talkback Hour today. But I came across this headline with Grand River Transit asking that people not ride on the top of buses. Apparently there was a social media post of what appeared to be a person lying on top of a moving Grand River Transit bus as it made its way down Hespeler Road in Cambridge. So obviously, Grand River Transit would issue the warning to not ride on the top of the bus. But because some people are misbehaving in this way, are we banning the buses? No more transit? because not everybody uses it responsibly. I thought the same thing about people who ride bicycles. We talk all the time about how they tend not to obey the Highway Traffic Act, right? Stop sign, schmop sign. If you're on a bicycle, you'll just ride right on through. Signal to turn? No. But we don't ban the bicycles, do we? Anyway, these are just things that pop into my head as we think about government overreach and where, as our guest from the Canadian Fireworks Association asked, does it end? I also want to know where this ends. You know how I feel if you've listened to this show for more than 5 minutes. You know how I feel about impaired driving. There is precisely zero excuse for it. Zero to get behind the wheel after having consumed too much alcohol. There's no excuse for it. And I don't think our penalties for impaired driving convictions are nearly stiff enough. Otherwise, why would we continue to do it as much as we do? And how about this? A driver on the Conestoga Parkway in Kitchener clocked at doing almost 160 kilometers per hour, drunk at 160. We all know that doesn't end well. Here's the best part, and by best I mean worst. This was the man's third impaired driving conviction. I want to know how you get another chance to drive impaired after you have already driven impaired once. Now this guy twice, and now 3 times, which is 3 times too many, because there is zero excuse for impaired driving. But this fella, 157 kilometers per hour on our expressway while impaired, his third impaired driving conviction. We got to fix this. I'm going to get you to the 570 News Center for an update, and then we meet the new CEO at Communitech. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. You may recall last week, Communitech announced its newest CEO. Sheldon McCormick assumes the role, and Sheldon McCormick makes time for our program this morning. Good morning, Sheldon.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
It's great to have you here. Thanks very much for making the time.
My pleasure.
What is it that attracted you to a role like this, the CEO of Communitech?
Well, Communitech's mission is to help founders start, grow, and succeed. It's been that way since 1997, and I think that is a very worthy mission today. So it is meaningful work that attracted me to this role.
What experience do you bring to Communitech?
Well, I come to this role with what I call a founder's mindset. Spent the last 10 or so years building businesses. It was a part of the team that helped to launch and expand Uber's business here in Canada. So I had a few great years as a general manager for our business. And then also kind of caught the entrepreneurial bug and left Uber to launch my own tech startup from scratch, kind of 0 to 1, and scaled that business up and ultimately exited and have now the chance to come to Communitech. And it's been week 1, but a great week so far.
What's it been like? It must be a little bit hectic.
Well, your words, Mike, not mine. It is. It's overwhelming to come into a role like this because the community outreach is so incredible. Honestly, I've been blown away by the goodwill from members of our community, and extends well beyond the folks who engage in Communitech day to day. So, from virtually all aspects of our community, the startup and scale up ecosystem, established tech companies, as well as our community leaders. Just a lot of goodwill. I think folks really care about Communitech. They value the legacy and the impact it's had historically, and they're really excited about hearing what's the next chapter.
I'm going to come to that in a second, but when you talk about the history of Communitech and its roots and its mission going back to 1997, and here we are today in 2025, why is a hub like this important, Sheldon?
It comes back to the founders. I think the challenges that entrepreneurs face today are different, but it's certainly no easier to build a business. We have new tools, new technology brings about a huge amount of new opportunity. But when you're out there building your business, particularly in the early days and in those inflection points as you scale up, you really benefit from having somebody in your corner. And that is my intent with the next chapter of Communitech. It's to reorient, to support the folks building businesses in this region, ensure that we embrace them, understand what the challenges are that they're facing today, and make sure what we deliver is, meeting them in the moment that we're in this era.
How do you see that next chapter unfolding under your leadership, Sheldon?
The first thing that I'm focused on is getting out into the community, meeting the founders and their teams, hearing about what they're building, what the challenges are, and everything we do is going to be responsive to them. So the next 90 days or so in particular, it's all about listening, learning, getting immersed in the community, and making sure that, that's the culture here internally at Communitech as well. Just that real focus on this region and the people building here.
I've long argued, Sheldon, that this region and particularly its tech sector is a key part of the economic engine in this province and frankly in Canada. And in that vein, I've heard some conversation around the importance of innovation and fostering innovation for our future economy in this country. How important is that? Do you see Canada still innovating the way it needs to?
Well, we are very fortunate to have an incredible vibrancy in our tech sector here in Waterloo. It's obviously been built up over decades, and we can't take it for granted. So my focus is going to be on ensuring that we're doing our part here at Communitech to usher in that next era of tech success by our founders and their teams. And I think if we do our job, and if we can help to usher in that next era of tech success in Waterloo, that's going to help make a significant contribution to Canada overall. I think a strong Waterloo region, strong tech sector in Waterloo region is a significant contributor to a strong Canada.
Why here, Sheldon? What do you see in the ecosystem here in the region of Waterloo that makes a hub like Communitech work?
Waterloo region, Mike, it's really almost singular when it comes to the depth of talent, the density of talent. We have incredible universities here locally. We have so many incredible organizations that are collaborating together. We want to be a big part of that. We've got this density and diversity of companies, some very well established, long time public companies. We've got scale-ups. We've got early stage startups. We've got builders. We've got students who are organizing incredible events. And so just there's such a richness and a capacity to this region, which makes it an incredible place to live. And I'm just very grateful to have an opportunity to be focused on giving back to that community.
You certainly won't get an argument from me about this being an incredible place to live. Born and raised here, and I continue enjoying watching it grow like it has. Looking forward to that next chapter with you at Communitech too, Sheldon. Thanks very much for joining the show, and welcome to the region.
Thank you so much. I look forward to chatting with you again in the future.
You and me both. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sheldon McCormick is the new CEO at Communitech, appointed last week and officially assuming the role this Monday as the CEO of our hub for tech companies, Communitech, in downtown Kitchener. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Well, someday I'm led to believe spring will actually arrive. I am so sick and ding-dang tired. I know it's a nice sunny day today. I'm going to bite my tongue. It just needs to be warmer for me, okay? And if you're a golfer, I saw a buddy of mine, good old Sam McKee from Sportsnet 590 The Fan, good Owen Soundboy, likes the Owen Sound Attack. We like Sam. Out golfing this morning to usher in the golf season in Toronto. Not exactly the weather for it. The diehards do it. So too do the diehard motorcyclists. And I've seen a number out, including yesterday, a little cold for my liking. But I bring up the weather and motorcycling because we're going to talk about that. And sure enough, we'll get into better riding weather in the days and weeks ahead. We're talking about motorcycling because the Grand River Motorcycle Ride for Dad is fast approaching. And the co-chair of that ride, Colin Hawk, joins me in studio. Great to have you here. Good morning.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
I think your background and how you came into this role is worth sharing because you come to this from a very personal place.
I do. Before I talk about that, though, I just like to say that let people know that prostate cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among Canadian men. And an average of 14 men die a day in Canada from this. And that means, there's a bride whose father won't be there to walk her down the aisle. There's a son whose dad won't be there for the birth of their first child. There's a partner that won't be there for a milestone anniversary because of this. And, it can be easily detected by a simple blood test, a PSA test. And that's the start of it. And unfortunately, the test isn't covered by OHIP. It's about $38. But, it could be the matter between life and death. And, 11 years ago, I was diagnosed. I had a good doctor who, told me to go do a PSA test. And, my numbers were a little high. And from there, I went on to a urologist, and we did tests every 3 months. And my numbers spiked, and we did a biopsy, and the rest is was removed, and I'm here 11 years from that date.
Yeah, that's the best part, and early detection is so important in this, isn't it?
It is. It is the key to this.
So we talk about prostate cancer because that's what the Grand River Ride for Dad is all about. $2.6 million raised since this ride was established in 2004. And this, of course, is one of many that happen across Canada.
Yeah, and this year's, it's actually the 25th anniversary of the Ride for Dad. It started in Ottawa 25 years ago. A group of friends, one of them was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and they all drove motorcycles, and they started off trying to do a little fundraiser. And, 25 years later, there's about 25 chapters across Canada. This is our 21st ride this year. And, it's just getting bigger and bigger.
What motivated you, besides the diagnosis, to get involved with the Ride for Dad? How did you come to be connected with it?
When I was going through it all in the urologist's office, I saw a little pledge form for Ride for Dad. And I'm like, hey, I'm a motorcycle enthusiast. And I thought, what a good way to give back. And the best thing about all the Ride for Dads across Canada is all that money that we raise goes locally. We are big partners with the Grand River Hospital Foundation, and the money we raise goes towards research that is locally by local researchers. And
So how can folks get involved, Colin, and support this year's Grand River Ride for Dad?
Perfect. There's 3 ways. We're always looking for sponsors. So if you're a local company or a person that wants to support a Canadian charity and a local charity, think about Ride for Dad. We have gold, silver, and bronze sponsorship levels. If you're one of these great humans in the region there that likes to volunteer for events, we always need volunteers. It's a big ride. We had 475 riders last year. So we need a lot of help at all our stops for the poker run. And thirdly, if you're a motorcycle enthusiast and likes to have a good, fun, safe ride, consider us. You can go on the Grand River website, register. It's $40 to register, or $50 the day of. And for the good thing about it is, if you bring in $100 in pledges, you can get your $40 back, or you can just donate the $40 back into the ride. And nationally, for every $100 you raise, you get a chance to win a BMW R900 is our grand prize. And the second prize is a 11-day Rocky Mountain bike tour by Renadian.
Hello.
Yeah. So it's 2 great national prizes. And then we have a lot of great prizes locally as well. So we're still working on some of those. We're looking at a nice set of 4 tires of your choice from a local area. And again, we're just working on some other prizes. And there's other small prizes as well. Just motorcycle type apparel and stuff like that. So.
All right. Ridefordad.ca is the website. You can find the Grand River Ride from there, but ridefordad.ca is where you want to go. This all happens on Saturday, June the 7th this year.
Yep, Saturday, June the 7th.
And this is, if you haven't experienced it before, it's quite the spectacle, this ride, especially the little parade through town before you head out on that poker run.
Yeah, correct. And we're great that Water Regional Police is, a big supporter of the ride. They help us out. They make sure we're all safe on the parade. They're out there blocking intersections and roundabouts. And, we do a little parade from Sports World to our first stop, which is Apex Blackbridge Harley-Davidson. And from there, everyone's on their own and just follow the map and route. We have a great route. We have a great ride captain, Gloria, and she's always plans a great route.
What is it like trying to kind of herd all of these cats? For almost 500 riders, hopefully even more this year. But your role, Colin, as a co-chair must be rather enormous.
It is, and I'm lucky that our executive, that they're a great bunch of people. It shouts out to Heather and Michelle, Bill, Mark, Dave, Barry, and I know I'm forgetting a few of you, but most importantly to my co-chair, Tracy. She's fabulous. She is she's the workhorse of this team, but it's a great team to work with, and I'm honored to work with those guys.
When you mentioned earlier one of those prizes being that Rocky Mountain Tour, and you, of course, a motorcycle enthusiast, where's the best place you've had the chance to ride so far?
I don't know. When I kind of up around the Barrie area, there's been some nice routes out there.
Yeah.
Or just up around. I've never really rode outside of Ontario or outside of this area.
We got to get you down to the tail or something at some point, right? Well, we'll definitely look forward to the Ride for Dad again this year. We'll make sure you come back as we get closer to it. But some sponsors, some volunteers, and by all means, let's start signing up now because the good weather is coming. Are you like me, fair weather rider?
Yeah, I'm a fair weather rider.
I just put heated grips on last year, finally. Gives me a little bit more I can endure. But Colin, kudos to you. Glad you're healthy and way to get involved with something so important for our community. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me, Mike.
Colin Hawk is the co-chair of the Grand River Ride for Dad, 21st one coming up this year, and more than $2 million has been raised. It stays local, so let's get behind this. Sponsors, volunteers, and yes, you riders. Saturday, June the 7th, visit ridefordad.ca. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
And Rogers TV.
Oh, just talking to Colin Hawk, the co-chair of the Grand River Ride for Dad, making me think about motorcycling and getting back into that saddle. Let's go. And I know you're probably sick of it, right? I'm sorry, but I honestly, I don't know why I take it so personally either, but I'm walking home from work last night and it's cold. Like, it's April the 17th. I know it's a sunny day today, but I am so over being cold. This spring has sucked. I know that's vulgarity too. That's a harsh word to use, but honest to goodness, convince me otherwise. This weather has been rotten. We are due for an extended, and I mean extended period of mild, sunny weather. It still feels like November out there, not April. I am done. I'm done with it. And I wish I could stop taking it so personally. We were waiting in Buffalo on Tuesday night for the tram that takes us to, free, by the way, FREE, free, hop on above ground, takes you right from the area where our hotel was, right down to KeyBank Arena for the Leafs Sabres game. And it was incredible how cold it was. But something else happened on that evening we were away from our poor little pandemic puppy, Rosie, back home, and it got me thinking, okay, this is something we can talk about on the flip side Thursday morning. This is time for the flip side, and here's what I want to know, because I know you do this. How do you spoil your pet? Let's see who pampers their pet the most. Coming up on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio. Hey, a happy anniversary to our buddy Hutch, too, Matt Hutchison in the 570 News Center. He's been with Rogers Radio now for 8 years. 8! A couple more years will take him off probation. Attaboy, Hutch! You're almost a survivor in this crazy radio racket. Okay, every Thursday morning at this time, we do a little something for fun. We can take a break from the heavier stuff, have a little fun together on a segment we call The Flip Side. It's been a part of this show since we began, which is almost 8 years ago, coincidentally. Almost since the day Hutch started with this radio station, we've been doing The Flip Side on this program. Chance to cleanse our palates a little bit. So, as you probably heard, I was away yesterday because I was gifted for Christmas some tickets to see the Leafs play in Buffalo. And boy, oh boy, who buys tickets in December for a game in April that featured as much as that game for me featured on Tuesday night? Chance to clinch the division, first time in 25 years. Chance for Mitch Marner to get his 100th point of the season. Chance for Austin Matthews to score his 400th career goal. It all happened. Oh, yeah, and by the way, little Stevie, Kitchener's own Steven Lorentz, scored the game-winning goal for the Leafs on Tuesday night, too. It was an absolutely perfect night at the arena. Loved every bit of it. As we were coming home yesterday, because we stayed the night, made an overnight trip of it. I know, heaven forbid, an overnight trip in the United States. It was wonderful. People of Buffalo, I love ya. You're good folk. And we had a great time. Coming home, we learned from the friend who was dog sitting for us that poor little Rosie, the pandemic pup, had a little accident in the overnight hours and left us a little mark on the couch, presumably to tell us that she was annoyed that we left. And look, it happens. And if you are a pet person, you probably can already feel in your heart the same thing that we felt, like the poor girl was just a little bit out of sorts because she didn't know where her people were. And she even went down to an area of the house where she doesn't spend a ton of time. And that's where she left her little mark when she peed on the couch. You're not going to get mad at her. She doesn't know what's going on. She's trying to figure out where her people are. She was in the house all by herself. And of course, as pet parents, we start feeling awful. And then I said to my beloved, I said, hang on a second here. Like Rosie, the pandemic pup, she's a little bit on the high-strung side. She gets, if her routines are not followed religiously, she gets a little bit out of sorts. And I said, this is our fault. She gets treated like such a princess, this little dog. She has the run of the house. She gets to be on any piece of furniture she wants, including our bed. She has no rules. There are toys, like the basket of toys is overflowing. And the minute one toy is destroyed because she chews the heck out of it, she gets a new one. Always extra treats when we're out shopping, like you name it, she gets all of it. When I come back in my next life, I want to be Rosie the pandemic pup. That's how good she has it. And then, as usual, my beloved checks me and says, you're wrong. If, my beloved says, we really spoiled our pet, she would be in the back seat with us right now because we're driving home from Buffalo. She'd have her own little car seat, right? All fluffy and perfect. She would have been with us in Buffalo. We would have got a pet-friendly hotel and this and that and the other thing. So she says, you think that we're spoiling that dog, but there are people that spoil their pets way more than we spoil Rosie the pandemic pup. My beloved is probably right. Maybe you can help me prove that on the flip side this morning. How do you spoil your pet? And I'll tell you what, Rosie being on any piece of furniture that she wants to be on is, in my eyes, spoiling the heck out of her, because Ranger, the Wonder Pup, when he was with us, he didn't get all furniture privileges like Rosie does. You see how you're always easier on the next kid? So anyway, I'm sure there are those of you who spoil your pets way more than we spoil Rosie. She gets spoiled with love. She gets all the attention. Anything she wants, she gets. But I'm sure there are others who spoil their pets more. And that's what I want to learn about on the flip side this morning. What do you do to spoil your pet? Let's find out who spoils their pet the most. It's a little game all of a sudden. 519-570-2545. Star 570 and 1-800-570-5715. I can tell you also that Rosie the pandemic pup only gets the very best when it comes to the food that she eats, because heaven forbid she eats what Ranger had to eat when he was around. Again, she gets all of the furniture privileges. She gets all of the attention, all of the playtime, all of the toys. She does not, though, get any doggy clothes. I refuse to dress my dogs. But I'm sure there are those of you who spoil your pets way more than we spoil Rosie. And I want to find out about it on the flip side today. We'll go to the phones, start with Barbara. Good morning, Barbara.
Good morning, Mike. You know I'm passionate about sewers, but perhaps you don't know that I'm also passionate about guinea pigs.
Excuse me?
I have a guinea pig petting zoo on my front lawn near Belmont Village. I have the guinea pigs out every day, all day long, and I have snacks for them. I put a bowl of treats for people walking by. It's just transformed the neighborhood. People love the guinea pigs. But I am telling you, these guys are so spoiled. They get out first thing in the morning. They have towels and blankets, and I'm doing laundry and wrecking my washing machine with all the hair. They are some kind of spoiled guinea pigs, let me tell you that.
I had no idea. I did know about your passion for sewers, not about the passion for guinea pigs.
Well, I'm just a passionate gal, Mike.
Why guinea pigs, Barb? Why guinea pigs? Why guinea pigs?
Well, I've had them since I was 6 years old. So guinea pigs are fairly common in Britain, in England. As a matter of fact, the royal family keep guinea pigs, and apparently the current members of the royal family. Yeah,
don't
apparently.
do this. No, guinea pigs.
My dad was British, and one of my uncles, that we were up at his farm in in Ontario somewhere, and they had guinea pigs, and they just had babies. So, 6 years old, we begged our parents to have guinea pig babies. Mike, I've had them since I was 6 years old. I had them all through university. I love guinea pigs. They are like the sweetest, most precious. They love to be cuddled and pet, and I train mine like we know each other really well, and it just brings me so much joy. And it brings joy to everybody else in the neighborhood too, and that makes me even more joyful.
I love it, Barb. Like, good for you, the guinea pig petting zoo. And listen, I mentioned this the other day. I looked at my dog lounging on the couch next to me watching TV, and I was overcome with the love I have for this dog. And I thought to myself, I love an animal. Like, this is crazy to me. But a guinea pig? I can't get there, but good on you. Barb treats her guinea pigs very well. Donna, what about you? How do you spoil your pet?
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Donna.
First of all, I enjoy you so much, so thank you for what you do. But I had a Vachon and Freeze, Truffles, who passed away. But when she was getting older, every time it was cold out or snowing or raining, I'd throw her blankets in the dryer and wrap her in it when she came in.
Oh, I love that, Donna. I love that.
That's what I used to do.
Perfect. Thank you so much for calling today.
Okay, have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. You know what? My mom used to do that. She'd pull the laundry out of the dryer in the basement. I'd be sitting there like a lump, typical, watching TV, and she would come and she would dump the whole basket of warm clothes on top of me. I don't know how my siblings felt about that, but gosh, did I love it. And Donna, well done. I can get behind that kind of care for a pet as she ages. Joe, what about you? How do you spoil the dogs?
Mike, I let them hunt and fish unlimited up at the lake and at the golf course around town.
Wait a minute. At the golf course, Joe?
Yeah.
Are they supposed to be on the golf course?
Yeah, I'm paying my taxes to keep the golf course going.
Oh,
so yeah.
Joe. Okay, so what do the girls hunt and fish?
They're a boy and girl.
Oh, sorry. I thought you had two girls. Okay.
No, I got three pups. They like to hunt geese. They like to hunt coyotes, especially foxes. Porcupines are a problem.
You
I
think?
don't know if you can imagine that, but that's a horror show. And hopefully they've learned their lesson after 2 bouts. And they love to fish. Yes, fish. They do love to try and catch fish.
I believe that, but now I'm worried about the geese a little bit, Joe. Is this allowed? Yeah.
Most people, I'll tell you what, all my neighbors up at the lake, they encourage me to allow the dogs to go geesing. They absolutely endorse that wholeheartedly. They hate the geese around their properties and the mess they make.
Yeah.
So,
but Joe, these are Canada geese.
I realize that.
Yeah.
But, they need to know where their place is just as much as we need to know where ours is.
All right. Listen, I'm a pet person, but like all children, they need to learn their boundaries, don't they, Joe? Okay. But they get unlimited hunting opportunities. Joe's pets. The porcupine reminds me of, it must have been, I was going to say it was my grandparents, so it must have been my mom's dog when she was a kid. We never had pets. Well, we had bunnies. Goofy family pet. We never had a dog, cat. We had a bird in a cage growing up. Anyway, my mom's childhood dog. I'm pretty sure it was that. Maybe it was a great-grandparent. Doesn't matter. With the porcupine. And like Joe described, more than once. And that dog comes back yelping, till the high heaven. And that quill into its nose. Oh, my goodness gracious. I can't even imagine. Rosie got skunked, if you remember, after the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. I'll never forget the smell for a moment. I'll never forget the poor dog at the back door when we opened it to rescue her. She was standing there. She was quivering. She had no idea what had just hit her. That broke my heart. I couldn't imagine the porcupine. What do you do to spoil your pet? So far, I think Donna's leading the charge here with the warm blankets and towels out of the dryer around her little dog as she was aging. Guinea pigs, the guinea pig petting zoo near Belmont Village, if guinea pigs are your thing. And Joe says unlimited opportunities to hunt. How do you spoil your pet? All Rosie gets spoiled with is furniture privileges. Let us know on the flip side this morning, who spoils their pet the most? This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. So we're coming home from Buffalo the other day, and we learned from my buddy who's keeping an eye on Rosie the pandemic pup that she had a little accident overnight. Kind of breaks your heart. You wonder what's going through the poor dog's head. I know we're not supposed to humanize them, but if you're a pet person, you humanize that pet all the time. And the poor girl must have just been so out of sorts, wondering where all her people were that she peed on the couch. Not her fault. This is the other thing, right? She's like the kid that can't get into trouble. It's always our fault because we did something wrong. She's the one that whizzed in the house. She knows she's not supposed to do that, but it happens because something was just amiss with her schedule. And I started going off about, that stupid dog. She's so spoiled. She gets everything she wants. And my beloved quite rightly pointed out to me, if we were really spoiling Rosie the pandemic pup, she'd be in the back seat in her own personal fluffy dog carrier. She would have come to Buffalo with us and you would have found a pet-friendly hotel and so many other things that pet people do for their fur babies. So I thought I'd put that to the test today. How much do you spoil your pet? So far, Donna, with the dog that was aging and got the blankets and towels right out of the dryer, wrapped up to her so she could stay warm. I dig that. That's a bit of a special privilege for the pet in your house. 519-570-2545. Star 570 and 1-800-570-5715. Marianne sends an email to Mike at 570news.com. Says, my cat likes to lay on the couch with me, and I'll make sure I don't move for at least a couple of hours so I don't disturb his sleep. Let me tell you what I do to that sleeping cat. No, I'm kidding. If you love your cat, you love your cat. You can love your cat. You can love your dog. You can love your goldfish. I just want to know how you show that affection. Who spoils their pet the most? Grant, is it you?
Yeah, we used to have Newfie dog, and Mom would...
A Newfie dog? Did the dog know it was a Newfie?
No. I
Okay.
guess not.
No, I guess not.
And she would heat up his dry dog food.
See, I was waiting for that one. Oh, I cut the dog food. I heat it up. I test it first. Heated dog food, eh?
And then Mom had, I think, one of those polar bear blankets that if it was a cold day out, she would put that on the kitchen floor, and he really enjoyed that.
Of course, any dog would. I think any human would. I remember the day just a couple of weeks ago. We finally got a sunny day like today, and I came home from work, and Rosie, the pandemic pup, was just flaked out on her bed, and she sees me, and I'm home from work, so it's time for her to get a washroom break. And 30 seconds later, I check out the back window at her, and there she is, just laying in the sun on the deck. Same position she was in when I came home inside the house. She just went outside and transferred her position into a spot in the sun on the back deck. Robbie English, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Another great night last night, but we're talking puppies. So, I have one. Well, we got two. We have a 120-pound Mastiff, Bronson, who's an old man now. He's 13, who's been spoiled his entire life. But we also have the baby of the family is actually 3 years old and 55 pounds. We've got a bulldog named Otis, who is, he's very rarely called Otis. He normally gets called things that we can't say on the radio. But I bought him for my wife for her 50th birthday, but he kind of became mine. And I've had a lot of dogs, and I love this dog more than I've ever loved any other dog, and possibly most of the humans I've ever known. But he's an absolute pain in the butt. But his little face is the first thing I see every morning. I get out of bed, I go to the bathroom. 2 seconds later, his little face is there. This morning, he follows me into my bedroom. I sleep in the back because I snore louder than the bulldog. He follows me into my bedroom, does his usual routine, jumps on the bed, sniffs my pillows, where he normally throws them around. This morning, he square looked me straight in the eye and peed on my pillow.
He did not do that.
Dude, he did. He seriously did. It was only a little one. Bulldogs are renowned for it. He's half English, half French. So I got the worst of both worlds. Anybody that owns a French will tell you that they don't listen to a damn thing you say. But he looked me square in the eye after sniffing my pillows, and I thought any minute now he's going to destroy my bed. Nope, he just cocked his leg, he did the little pee, and then jumped back downstairs to his mom. So, yeah. And you know what I did? I laughed.
Of course you did. Of course.
I took the pillowcase off as quick as I could, threw it in the laundry, pillows dry. I'll sleep soundly like I always do, and he'll be a little bugger like he always is. So I'll leave you with that, and safe travels tomorrow, buddy.
Thanks, Robbie. Good to hear from you. Robbie always calls our Rangers post-game show, too. What do? The dog pees on the pillow. You just do the laundry. That's it. Ernie, good morning.
Hey, obviously, I've talked to you about Raven, the Doberman here that we have. And I've trained her pretty good. My dad always says if the kids were as trained as well as your dog, you would have the best kids in the world. But, she loves this game. We do search and rescue for her. Basically, it's her toy frisbee. I can train her with almost any object so that I can hide it anywhere. In the fridge, Mike, and I can put her outside and she'll find that object. So she loves working. She loves that game. And especially with kids, too. They come over, they can do it. But a neat story with this is my buddy came over the one time, and I found out back in his younger days he was tracked down by a police canine. So he told me that story. He's like, dude, I'm going to outsmart your dog. So he spent probably the next hour trying to hide and go away from Raven, and she found him every time. So we had a good laugh, not only with his story back in his younger days, but also with how I got her working now.
I love it. Well done, Ernie. The dog wants to work. Let her work. This is what we do. The dog wants to pee on your pillow. The dog gets to pee on your pillow. This is how we spoil our pets. And the dog is still alive to tell the tale. It's the flip side on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. We are seconds away from the noon hour and your update in the 570 News Center. And then we are moments away from your Talkback Hour. And this is the Thursday headed into a long weekend. So basically, it's Friday. We can call it 3 Phones Thursday, if you like. Or I'll just remind you that after today, you got to go 72 hours without getting stuff off your chest and onto the air. So let's take advantage of our final Talkback Hour of the week together, okay? It comes up right after this on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio.
Take out the papers and the trash, or you don't get no spending cash. If you don't scrub that kitchen floor, you ain't gonna rock and roll no more. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Just finish cleaning up your room. Let's see that dust fly with that broom. Get all that garbage out of sight, or you don't go out Friday night. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Your daily talkback opportunity begins right now. You make the call, we answer, and listen to what's on your mind. And believe you me, I mean, as of last week, we got movement on the regional transit hub, didn't we? We talked about last week, said, what the heck's going on? When is the regional transit hub? Is this the new Highway 7? Apparently not. They're going to start construction next year. I mean, that's still a year away, but that's more than we knew a week ago when we were on this show saying what the HE double hockey sticks is going on with this transit hub. So if you want some action on some stuff, let's have the conversation on the show. 519-570-2545. Star 570 and 1-800-570-5715. A couple of things on my mind. One, I mentioned earlier today, that being the bylaw that regional council will deliberate that would clear the encampment at Weber and Victoria, because our regional government needs that land. It owns the land in order to get the work started on that new transit hub. And this is all well and good. Of course, there is that Ontario Superior Court ruling that says if people are making a home on publicly owned land, you can't remove them because that violates their charter rights. But furthermore, I'm really curious about this because we know that folks living nearby, working nearby, have expressed concerns and shared challenges with the encampment existing so close to their place of business, and nothing happens. But now when the region needs the land, now we're going to clear it. Now we're going to get a bylaw in place to clear it. Something about that doesn't connect for me, frankly. And something else that's been on my mind is connected to what Kitchener Mayor Barry Verbanovic said about government overreach. Should the city of Kitchener move to ban the sale of fireworks? And I think he makes a good point. But that got me thinking about other places where I feel like the government is involved in my life where it doesn't really have to be involved in my life. There might be all kinds of government overreach. Like, think about what we're doing with photo radar, for example. I am a law-abiding, community-minded human being. And I will bet money on the fact that you and your friend and your friend's friend and all of you, like 80 to 85% of us are those people. We're going to follow the rules. We're going to treat our neighbors well. We're going to get along. And yet, because of the folks who choose not to stay within those boundaries, or they choose to break the laws that are put in place, then the government's going to step in and make it even more, like they want to socially engineer me on the streets that they're creating, the complete streets here, the photo radar over there, the fireworks sales that you can't get over here. Why? I didn't do anything wrong. Like, I promise, I'm fulfilling my end of the commitment here. Why are you getting in my kitchen? Is there more government overreach than just banning the sale of fireworks? I might argue yes, but that's just stuff rattling around between my ears today. I want to hear from you during the Talkback Hour. You can respond on government overreach. You can respond on the clearing of the encampment when it suits the region, but not when it's suited nearby businesses. You want to tell me what you thought of the French language leaders debate last night? If you paid attention to it instead of paying attention to hockey like I did. I'm all ears because we're getting closer and closer to April the 28th and Election Day. We'll go to the phones and start with Andre this afternoon. Good afternoon, Andre.
Good afternoon, Mike. Happy Friday.
Happy Thursday.
Sorry, I thought it was game day. I got a couple things. I'm going to be quick. So Luke Ellenis, great for him, and he's a champ when he says that it's not just me, it was the whole team. Because I know I did call in yesterday, and there was so much. And the other thing is I didn't hear no whining about nobody about his 2-game suspension, and that really hurt us. And what was it, a foot? What do you call that?
They call it a slew foot.
Oh, disgusting. But, you know, I mean, but he took it. He didn't complain. He didn't want. He came back strong. He showed the team that, you know, let's move on. And just like, I don't know if it's Luciokis, but they moved on with it. You know, and there's 1, and now 2's coming. I can't wait. And I know 3 is going to be coming, but 1 at a time. So that was one thing for Luke Ellis. 2, I want to say live, Mike, I'm sorry that I didn't took your joke about blindness. It was nothing to do personally. It was just that referee, you know, I tried to say that it's a human mistake or whatever. But, man, to me, when I forgot my thought on that. But it was tough. It was tough to take. And to me in life, Mike, when you do something like your show, responsibility, I'm learning now with counseling, accountability. And that's why I didn't laugh. That referee was not accountable. 3, Mike, last point.
Wait. I just want to make sure. Hang on. So did I offend you by making a joke?
No, I didn't laugh at it.
Oh.
Yeah. Because, you know, you give the joke, you take it back. And I wasn't really laughing about it. When you asked me, you know, that referee, I would have done a better job than the referee, right? So, yes, it's just that referee should have been accountable. And no, I wouldn't have done a better job. It's just I don't know what the heck. 3, Mike, you showed a great example about fireworks. This blows my mind how, you know, you can take good apples, you know, bad rotten apples, you eliminate them. You don't get rid of the good apples. That's like the drinking in the park. Like, come on now, let's grow up and be responsible about 85% of the population. That's good. You have a good one, Mike, and I can't wait to hear from you. You're my eyes on the ice.
Thanks, Andre. Andre is visually impaired, and I joked the other night that he could have done a better job than the referees at the Kitchener Rangers game. Among other things, Luke Ellenis scored a hat trick for the Rangers last night, a big win after Ellenis came back from a 2-game suspension. And, government overreach. Sign me up. Look, listen, I'm tired. I've been parented, and I think they did a pretty damn fine job. Leave me alone. Can you leave me alone, please? I know I'm following the rules out there. You don't need to be making life more difficult for me. You don't need to be inserting yourself into my business. Or is this just make work for governments? Because Lord knows, we have a lot of government employees. And in this community, we've got a lot of elected representatives of government, 59 just municipally, not including provincially and federally. I feel like there's a lot of insertion by you into my life. I'm doing fine, thank you. Maybe I'm just feeling a little feisty today. I don't know. It's your Talkback Hour, the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. And right back to the phones we go on a busy Talkback Hour this afternoon. Mayor Jake, good afternoon, Your Worship.
Mike, how are you now?
I'm good, and you?
Oh, not too bad. There's something that I'd like to bring up that now that tax season's coming up, scams. And unfortunately, on Sunday, I was the victim of a scam out of Mr. Lube, where they charged me for work that was never done. Fortunately, the mistake was caught. They're going to reimburse me for all the work that wasn't done. But I like to remind people, just be vigilant. If somebody calls you demanding money, it's not a thing. So if you feel uneasy about it, get a name, get a number, write it down, say that you'll call back later. And when I'm mayor and a company in Kitchener is committing fraud or a scam, I will pull that business license so fast that you can't even get your pants on in time.
All right, Mayor Jake, appreciate the call. Appreciate you watching out for your fellow citizens in the region. Mayor Jake, beware of scams. If it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't pass the sniff test, if it makes you a little bit unsure, take some precautions. Good advice there. Terry, you're on Talkback. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Mike. I noticed a couple things here. The first one, I noticed the polls out of Quebec had the Liberals at almost 50% of the popular vote there, or the polls. If that stands pat, man, or put, they're going to run away with this election. I mean, if a dude with a French name can't do well in Quebec, I don't know what to tell you. So, no, it's like they said, it's like 45%. Even the Bloc are way down. So I couldn't believe it. I thought the Bloc Quebec, or whatever they're called now, the Bloc, we're going to run away with the Quebec. So the other thing, Mike, is you always have that saying, the team that shall not be named.
Yes, sir.
Every time I hear that, I always think of that song by America, riding in the desert on a horse with no name.
No, you can ride the desert too. Sure, I like it. Yeah.
Listen, Mike, from now on, going forward, every time someone refers to that team an hour east of where you are, why don't you refer to them, or your callers can refer to them as the team that shall not win? How many cups have they won in the last 10 years, Mike?
The team that shall not be named?
It's the team that shall not win.
Well, I'm trying to sorry, an hour east of where I am.
Yeah, you know, the team that wears the blue jerseys.
Well, okay, so what are you getting at, Terry? How many years has it been for the team that shall not be named?
32.
Okay.
And the other team is probably a little more than 10 years. But anyway, no, I'm just saying, to be fair, Mike.
Oh, no. I refuse to be fair in this regard, Terry. I think I've made that clear.
Right on. I got you.
Okay.
No, it's just because I know you got some callers that like that team that shall not be named. You know, like Kyle and I don't know, there's a few others.
Yeah.
Chef Dave.
Yeah.
So they can refer to that other team.
No.
As the team that shall not win.
Terry. No.
I don't care for either
My
team.
show, my rules, pal.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
All
That's
right.
what I thought you would say. I knew that. Anyway, Mike, have yourself a good weekend, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks, Terry. You too. Happy Easter. It's the only time I'll ever invoke that, okay? Because I think it's a jerk thing to say. My show, my rules. But I have just that one, okay? And I'm going to stand by it because if you can't take it in sports, and I can't help it if you're a moron and you cheer for that team. I say that with love in my heart. Come on. Be nice to me. Ray, good afternoon. You're on Talkback.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. So I was driving out doing some deliveries this morning, listening to your show.
Yeah.
And the fellow you were speaking to, his name was Gary?
Yes. Living retired.
Right.
Yes.
He didn't understand what organic horse manure is?
Yes, Ray, that's correct.
I can explain it.
I'm all ears.
So organic horse manure is simple. It's just horses that are fed no grain.
Well, see, that's what I said. I said they probably eat just organic foods. Okay, so no grain. So input equals output.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hay-fed horses. It's organic manure. My wife and I sell it.
Okay. Now, wait a minute, Ray. I need a little bit more now. What is the best use for organic horse manure?
Well, I'm thinking all for your gardens and vegetables.
Sure.
You can use it for anything. We sell hordes of it here in Guelph. And we have repeat customers for, I think, 6 years now.
Do you sell it 3 bags for $5?
No, we don't.
I thought Gary was making that up. Sorry, what was that?
Ours is $5 a bag, but it's like 30 pounds, I believe.
Okay.
They're heavy.
Ray.
And it's aged. Ours is aged, so it's like 5 years, 6 years old, our manure. I have retired race horses.
Literally, you age the manure? Like, what do you have? Put it in storage?
It's aged, so it looks like earth by the time. No, it's just outside, through the winters and stuff.
Yeah.
So you just walk over, pile it up. You clean your stalls, and then over the years, it just takes that long, right? We have that many horses, and it after years, you're ready to when it looks like earth, then you get it ready to bag up and sell.
I absolutely love this, Ray. More importantly, now you said in Guelph, where are we going to get our hands on this $5 a bag organic horse manure?
Are you sure?
I'm positive, my friend. You got it.
My wife sells it online on Marketplace. There's an ad, I think she has it on Marketplace, I believe.
Okay.
I think her name is Pam something. I forget what her.
You forget. Wait a minute. You forget your wife's name, Ray.
No, it's a fake name that she used.
Okay. Organic horse maneuver on Facebook Marketplace from Guelph. It's legit.
Yes.
Okay.
It's legit.
It's aged, too.
Aged. It's aged, bud. It's the best.
I love this show because I learned so much. Ray, you're a good man.
It's gold.
I'll bet it is. I'll bet those are the most golden horse apples ever. I got you. Okay.
There you go, brother.
Thanks, Raymond.
You're welcome.
Stay well, sir. I'll tell you what, you just never know. You never know what you're going to get when you answer the phone on this show. Organic horse maneuver, $5 a bag. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Our buddy Gary Chalk, living retired, aged horse manure like aging wine. Get it on Marketplace from somebody named Pam, okay? Ray called in, told us all about the organic horse maneuver. I wonder if Kyle can top that as we continue Talkback. Anything better than aged horse manure, Kyle?
So what you're telling me is if I just have to go to the bathroom in a bag and sell for $5 online, I can make a living?
You took it somewhere, didn't you? Wow.
Did you hear what I said?
Oh, I heard what you said. And I'm remembering the story you told a long time ago about being in a plane and needing to relieve your bowels and just did it right there in a bucket. I remember these things, Kyle.
It was in a cooler, but yes.
Okay.
Hey,
oh, my gosh. I can't even believe I brought that up. What next?
I want to say, first of all, good job to the Rangers last night. Great game. It was, Parsons, I don't know. And you know what? Windsor's goalie, I got to say, is there a magical wall right there? That's every time I heard you on the radio, I thought it was going to go in. And you're like, no, he saved it. And I was like, man, oh, man, I feel like it's like I'm watching the movie Angels in the Outfield, that there's an angel right there stopping every single puck. But, no, it was a great game. I'm excited. Let's just move on to the next one now. Take it on to game 5, and let's just win that one as well and just take it one step at a time. But great job, Mike, and both you and Paul Fixie. I mean, honestly, the hours that you guys put in every game, and you make it exciting for us, whether we're calling in or, you're just doing your play-by-play on the radio. Hats off to you guys. Always professional, and I always love it. So thanks a lot there, Mike, and have a great happy Easter and have a great weekend, my friend.
Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it. The beauty of it is Fixie and I love doing the games as well. Game 5, Rangers Spitfires tomorrow in Windsor. We'll be there. You know we will. 6:30 pregame. Talkback continues after this update from the 570 News Center on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio. Well, you know how this works. You call, we answer. We get to hear your thoughts. Busy day on the phones. Amanda, you're next. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mike. Thanks so much for taking the call. And this is probably going to be a thorn in your side because you probably heard it a million times. But I just wanted to say that line of Mercer, Arquette, and Vermeulen was absolutely amazing last night.
Loved them to death.
They completely shut down one of the top lines in the OHL, and they played a huge role. But not a single one of them was named a star. And I find it a little frustrating to see that stars are given to opposing teams when they're shut out over guys who make a difference in the game. And it seems to be that those ones that are really hardworking, that don't always make it onto the score sheet, are overlooked with stars. So I'm wondering, why is that?
Well, I mean, it's a great question, one I'm actually super passionate about. I've always believed, because I go to every rink, and sometimes you just go to rinks where they only give the home team stars, and it annoys the heck out of me. I think that when you're giving out 3, the winning team should get 2, and the losing team should get 1, unless the game's a blowout. That's what I believe. What do you believe?
So I believe that it needs to go to the hardest workers. And I think that if a team does not get any goals, I don't know that you would give that to that team.
So you don't think that if a team got shut out 1-0, they don't deserve any stars?
No, I don't think so. I think you got to give it to your team that worked hardest.
Okay. So we differ on that.
Absolutely.
Yep. And that's okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much and have a great Easter.
Thanks, Amanda. You too. Listen, it was a great, hardworking line last night. You get to give out 3 stars. The people who picked the 3 stars in Kitchener last night went with the guy that scored 3 goals, Luke Ellenis, the guy that got the shutout, Jackson Parsons, and the guy in the other net, Joey Costanzo, who I think faced 35. Yeah, it was 35 shots. So he made 32 saves, 33 saves. 30, because, yes, 32 saves. The last goal was an empty net goal. I'm getting myself confused. Anyway, so 32 saves, maybe pretty good. Look, you can only give out 3, but I get it. That line of Vermeulen, Mercer, and Arquette was fantastic. Shout it to the heavens. Shout it from the mountaintops. I'm with you. Daryl, you're with us on Talkback. Good afternoon.
Well, hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm well, and you?
Good. I heard you had a bunch of fun last night.
Oh, my gosh. I had so much fun last night, from Kyle Nechtel in our second intermission to the beauties that called the post-game show, including the guy with the bag on his head.
I might know that both those guys.
You might, eh?
Good.
You might. I thought that was you.
Yeah, it's glad it worked out for you, and it added some fun to the game. Obviously a great game last night. I was unable to watch or listen to it, but great. We're heading to Windsor, and I just wanted to let you know I called Great Canadian. I guess there's no fan bus going tomorrow night.
That's too bad. They did them for both games last week. I guess maybe with the holiday they couldn't do it. I don't know, but
right. I just wanted, if people are wondering, that's not happening. And back to the guy that sells organic horse manure.
Okay, sure, go there.
I farm for a living, and manure is all organic. Like, I don't know if people are falling for this. Like, what in the world? Manure is organic. I'll leave that with you, but good job.
Thank you, my friend. Great to hear from you. Daryl is such a great story. I woke up yesterday morning in Buffalo after being there for the Leafs game on Tuesday night, and my beloved and I stayed over and made a little getaway out of it. And, of course, got to get up, got to get into work mode, even though I was on a day off, so to speak. Get ready for today, get ready for the game last night. And Daryl had sent me an email connecting me with Kyle Nechtel of Ayr, who used to be a goaltender for the Windsor Spitfires. What a perfect guest to have on our broadcast last night. Local boy, played for Windsor, had some great stories. We had so much fun with him during the second intermission. And it turns out that Daryl, I'm pretty sure the connection is the brother of the guy who was at the Rangers game last night wearing a referee's jersey with a paper bag over his head. Unreal. Loved the effort. And Avery was his name, called our post-game show last night. It was a great conversation, great story. We all had some fun. And, of course, the Rangers got that big win. Continuing Talkback. George, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is George. I just wanted to let you know, Mike, that, the priority seating on the bus on the Grand River Transit for the handicapped people?
Sure.
That is no more.
The priority seat is no there?
Serve.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Really?
I've had many supervisors come to me. I even put in a complaint, and they came to me and said, it's first come, first serve.
Well, that's crazy.
Well, that's what it is.
All right, George. Well, thank you for letting me know. I'm going to look into that a little bit further because that makes less than 0 sense to me. You take away the priority seating that is there for someone who needs that accessible priority seat. Come on with your coming on. What's next? We're taking the handicapped spots out of parking lots? What are we doing here? Greg, good afternoon. You're on Talkback.
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Pretty good. I just wanted to say I try to be a big supporter of local theater and the local cinemas. And just wondering if you or anybody knows what's going on with the Apollo. I know they were bought by new owners, and they used to have a really good offering of, just normal movies and multicultural movies. And now that just seems to have kind of stopped. So Just wondering if you guys have any line on what's going on there.
It's a great question, Greg, and I appreciate the call. Short answer, no, but absolutely happy to look into it. And if any of you happen to know a little more than I do at this moment, please do let me know. I'm with you, Greg, when it comes to the local cinemas and what the Apollo was offering. And the Princess is great, too. I mean, we've got so many terrific opportunities here, but I loved the Apollo for nostalgic reasons because it used to be, that was the old Highland movie theater when I was a kid, but resurrected, great little indie movie house. And yes, I know that it had changed hands in terms of ownership, but the changes that have happened since or what might be happening in the future, don't know right now, but I will aim to find out for you. Or you can help me out here too, because the Talkback Hour continues where we take your calls on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. It is a busy Talkback Hour today. Let's get right back to the phones. The more we can hear from you, the better. Tom, good afternoon.
How are you, Mike?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Why does the New York Times have to expose how corrupt Ford is and what are our politicians? And
that's a great question. A New York Times story gets into the bad deal that the provincial government signed with the geotherm or whatever it is for that new spa. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not giving it to a Canadian company. And so how much money does Ford get under the table, him and his builder, just like he tried to do with that land that he was putting for to the builder?
For the Greenbelt.
Yeah, the Greenbelt. I think the opposition should get on it and attack this guy because there's all kinds of corruption, even with the Science Center. Nothing wrong with that. They could have fixed it. But he wants to give billions to his buddies.
All right, Tom. Listen, I can tell you the opposition is already on it because I've received the media release from the NDP. So they are all over it. Back to the phones. George, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mike. How are you doing there?
Top shelf, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. I hope you don't mind. I have a message for the Kitchener Rangers.
Please do.
Kitchener Rangers, I hope you're listening. There is no other team in the OHL that can climb back, I believe, from down 3. It's you guys with Parsons and net. You guys can do it. Go, Rangers, go.
All right, George, appreciate that call, and I guarantee the team appreciates your support and confidence. If any team can do it, the Rangers could do it. They took their first step last night, and I can tell you this, the message from the head coach right through the lineup was, we're not even thinking about 4 games. We're thinking about 1 game. The Rangers won 1 game last night. They will try to win 1 more game tomorrow night in Windsor. Again, pregame coverage right here. This is your home for Kitchener Rangers hockey. You'll get it starting at 6:30. Ernie, good afternoon.
Hey, Mike. I'm going to try to keep it light from what I'm hearing so far anyways today. But I got a suggestion. If somebody wants to play this game tonight during the debate, every time Arnie says USA or Trump, you take a drink. And anytime Pierre says Trudeau or calls him Trudeau, you take a drink. And I feel by the end of the night, instead of sounding like whatever respective party we believe in, we're going to sound more like Blanchette. So
I like Blanchette. Come on. I love that guy. I'm
only talking about how we're going to sound after the drink. Right.
All right, Ernie. All right. Thanks, buddy. The English language leaders debate drinking game, courtesy of Ernie. If Carney says USA or Trump, take a drink. If Poilievre says Trudeau, or I forget the other one already, shame on me. Anyway, take a drink, and you'll end up sounding like Yves-François Blanchette. I like Yves-François Blanchette. I do. There's something about the Quebec sensibility. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because I've stayed up too late last night. Francis, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, buddy. How's it going?
So good, thanks. So good. How's it going with you?
Very good. I hear about all this different manure. I believe a horse manure is good if you leave it aged for 5 years. But the best manure you can get is rabbit manure. And it has a pH of 6.8, and you can put it right on the plants right away. And I also used to have red wiggler worms, and they would work it up, and that's the best manure you can get.
Hang on. Francis, did you honestly just say you had red wiggler worms?
Yes.
Like the Cadillac of worms?
The Cadillac, yes. It cost a fortune.
No, you're making this. That was on a TV show, Francis.
No.
Yes.
I've done it, Mike.
Francis, red wigglers came from WKRP in Cincinnati.
Okay.
Okay. So they don't really exist in real life, do they?
Oh, yes, they do. They're little red suckers. And you wouldn't be able to put them on a hook. I wouldn't know how.
Okay. So now we've got rabbit manure and red wigglers. And you want me to believe what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, I'm from God's country.
Oh, I know you are. Formosa. I know.
Yeah. You're the man.
All right, Francis. Thank you, sir. Have a great afternoon.
You too, sir.
Thank you. I cannot believe the direction this show turned today. Organic horse maneuver. Why do I keep saying maneuver? Because I don't want to say manure. I'm trying not to say, you know what. Organic horse manure, rabbit manure, and red wigglers. The Cadillac of worms. The Cadillac of worms. Ha ha. WKRP in Cincinnati. You can't fool me from Formosa. Francis the man. It's your Talkback Hour. It's the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Our final minutes today before I turn you over to Rob Snow, and now you know. Back to the phones. Matt, good afternoon.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad. Go, Habs, go.
Okay, you just get off my phone, you son of a so-and-so. Matt, that's okay. You got... I should have hit this button. Waited too long. Go Leafs, go. It's the only thing we're going to stand for on this show. Mary, good afternoon.
Oh.
Did you hear that?
Wasted my time.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, and he wasted my precious time.
Okay, no more wasting Mary's precious time with your happy crappy. Yeah.
Okay. Go Leafs, go Leafs, go Rangers, go.
Yeah, all of that good stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
like a circus, one ball, and like there's a game, there's speeches or debates and whatnot, and I'm going around like a one-armed paper hanger. But anyway, I am so hurt and disturbed by the fact that I think it's just Kitchener is banning the fireworks stuff. Is it just Kitchener?
Well, yeah, but Mary, everybody else is just going to jump on board. That's what we do around here. We refuse to amalgamate, but here's what's going to happen. Kitchener's going to create this bylaw, and then Waterloo will be the first to adopt it, and then Cambridge, and then everybody will adopt it. And Kitchener did all the work. And I'm just telling you how it's going to go. That's how it's going to go.
I want to let you know I'm old, but I love fireworks. And this is just why do we have to bend to all these other people? That brings joy to my life.
Mary, listen, I'm with you. I think I've come up with, since Mayor Verbanovic said this is government overreach, I've come up with lots of ways where I think the government is overreaching into my life and my space, and they keep doing it because not everybody will follow. So if the people that won't follow, we all have to suffer. And I'm tired of it, Mary. I'm ding-dang tired of it. Now you got me all fired up.
I'm ding-dang tired of it, too.
All right, well, you know what, Mary? We're going to have a big fireworks party then, you and me.
Oh.
That's what we're going to do.
Looking forward to it. Hey,
okay.
My 90th birthday.
On your 90th birthday, we're going to have a big fireworks party?
Are you coming?
I'm bringing the Roman candles.
Bye.
Bye. I'm also bringing the schoolhouse so we can burn it down at the end. And you know what else I think I'm going to bring? A radio station so I can burn it down at the end. Because when I was a kid, it was fun to burn down the schoolhouse because you thought, I don't have to go back to school. So if I burn down a radio station, I'd be, I don't have to go back to work. Of course, then I won't get paid, and I won't pay my mortgage, and then, it's just not going to be good. But seriously, with the overreach, and I can't believe Matt got on the show and said what he said a moment ago. Red Wigglers came up on the show today, which I previously had only believed was a fake commercial on a television sitcom, WKRP in Cincinnati. I've been assured that red wigglers are indeed real things. I'll take your word for it. But speaking of WKRP in Cincinnati, I loved the show. And they had a history in the early days of firing their program director. So they get a new program director. He gets fired. The boss says to another guy, hey, okay, Herb, you're the program director now. And Herb's coworker says, hey, wait, what about me? Why does he get to be the program director? And the boss says, you can be the program director when Herb is done, because program directors didn't last very long. I feel like this is what's going on at our Catholic school board right now. You can be trustee when Robert Sikora is done. You can be vice chair when Linda Cuff is done. They all just keep dropping like flies over there at the Waterloo Catholic District School Board, all over a flag, which we will explore in more detail in the weeks ahead. I promise you that. Hope you'll join us for some Rangers hockey tomorrow night from Windsor. Pre-game coverage gets underway at 6:30. Have a very happy Easter long weekend. Enjoy yourself. Eat chocolate. Be safe. My name is Mike Farwell. Bye for now.